Nos enfants écoutent les histoires que nous lisons. Et si nous écoutions les leurs? Bienvenue sur Histoire de naissance, podcast de Lindsay et Marlène, doula et maman passionnées par la naissance.
On te raconte des histoires vraies de grossesse et de naissance grâce à des invités sincères et authentiques. Alors c'est parti, détends-toi et laisse-toi bercer. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Histoire de naissance. Once again in English. We're sticking with our rhythm of doing it every 10 episodes or so in English. So today I'm here with my friend Pip, and her baby George is with us also, so you might hear some cooing noises. Thank you, Pip, for being here. She's going to tell us the story of George's birth. How are you, Pip?
Yeah, good. Hot in the heat wave here.
Yeah. It's very hot right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, where you live, what you do, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So I live in Strasbourg with my family, and I've been here for nearly 17 years now. So yeah, me and my wife got married in 2016 and had our daughter 7 years ago. My wife carried her, and then it was my turn. So
good start.
So there's Nadia, my wife, Sophia, our 7-year-old, and then George,
who's the new
baby
addition
in question. Yeah.
And very interested in our microphone.
Yeah.
So you told me that George was conceived via IVF, and you wanted to tell us about the whole journey to getting pregnant with him.
Yeah.
So how'd that go?
Not the whole thing, because that would go on forever. So yeah, we started when Sophia was about 1.5 years old. Mm-hmm. And we started in Belgium because it wasn't legal yet in France, and that was insemination with the same donor as what we had for Sophia.
Okay.
But unfortunately that didn't work. So then luckily in the meantime it was legalized in France, so because otherwise that would have been extremely expensive in Belgium. So so we moved over to the French system, and I had 3 egg harvesting operations in France, and I can't remember how many embryos they transplanted now. I think 4. Yeah, and honestly we were pretty close to giving up, but we had 2 embryos on ice, and I said, okay, well, let's just use those up and see what happens. I didn't want to do another egg harvesting thing because it's just a lot to go through. But then so anyway, so the first embryo that we tried, that was George. Okay. So yeah, and that cycle, they finally, I don't know, they didn't listen to me, but I basically told the doctors from the beginning that I was a very natural person. They kept kind of filling me up with hormones and stuff, and then on the time George was conceived, they decided to do it on a natural cycle, so I literally only had the trigger shot. That's the only hormone I had, and that's when I got pregnant.
And what was it triggering?
Ovulation. So basically they tracked my natural cycle. So because the embryo was frozen, I basically I had my period, and then they tracked it, and day 10 I went and they checked everything and kept an eye on it, and then when they saw it was the right moment, that's when they gave me the trigger shot to trigger ovulation, and that's when the day after they implanted the embryo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 5 years, 5.5 years after you started trying.
And we took a few breaks that in at times as well. I think we had time when we almost had a year break, like we didn't do anything. I just needed some time to mentally just to forget about it a bit. Anyway, so I finally got pregnant. So that was great. And I was very happy to be pregnant, but also kind of not getting too excited, not letting myself get too excited, I think.
Why not?
Well, just because we also, in the meantime, since having Soph, we also had quite a fefew friends who'd had some baby loss, basically. Yeah. Like during pregnancy or even after. So I was just kind of okay, just going with the flow. And
like happy, really but sort of going step by step.
Exactly.
Like
not getting
right now I'm pregnant
about it. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean in your brain, it wasn't like in 8 months, in 7 months, I'm going to have a baby in my arms.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's just like step by step. Of course, you know, when you get to the 3-month mark, then you feel more confident and everything, and then yeah, I mean, I had no reason, like no health issues or anything. It was just because of other people's stories, to be honest.
I mean, and that's fair. I mean, yeah, and
Yeah,
when it's
when
taken a long time too, I think you sort of lose your like naivety of being. Like,
yeah, definitely, yeah, like you know, yeah.
The first time I'll try, and then I'll get pregnant, and then I'm gonna have a baby, and for some people it's like that. And
yeah, exactly, yeah.
For a lot of people, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay, so you are pregnant, and aside from maybe like not being sure that you were gonna have a take-home baby at the end, how did pregnancy go?
Yeah, honestly, it was great. I had to take progesterone in the first trimester just to make sure that George stayed hanging on. And honestly, though, I thought I was expecting to get worse side effects as it accumulated in my body, but it wasn't that bad.
From the progesterone?
From the progesterone, yeah. I thought it was going to be... because I know a friend who had to do the same her first trimester, and she said she was vomiting, like, so badly. But no, I had, like, a bit of nausea, but I just had to, like, snack all the time and have some, like, ginger sweets. And I was good. Yeah. And otherwise I tried to keep really active. So I did a lot of sports. Not loads, but yeah, kept doing my sports, and yeah, tried to stay active, and generally I had a good time. Just felt a bit like puffy after around 36 weeks.
Not before that?
I don't think, not really. Well, maybe a little before that, because it also coincided with summer.
Okay.
So during the summer, that was pretty horrible. Like I had swollen hands and feet. And then that turned into carpal tunnel in my hands from like 36 weeks. But apart from that, like, no, it was okay.
And
Yeah.
what kind of medical care did you get?
Well, being in France, I was quite lucky. So I had a visit every month with my gynecologist. So the 3 big scans, but also a monthly scan.
Okay.
And I also had the 7 free sessions with a midwife. But because it was our second kid, and I kind of felt like I knew a lot of stuff about babies already, I like selected which ones I wanted to do. So I think we did one on breastfeeding. What else? We definitely did a birth prep one. But some of the others I was able to replace them with yoga, which was really cool. So
awesome.
She did a prenatal yoga thing. So I did, I think, 3 or 4 sessions with her. That was cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And what kind of birth were you like hoping for or planning for?
Honestly, like, as opposed to some people who have like a fixed birth plan, I was very much just about just getting out me and the baby alive. And like, you know, I was ready to have a cesarean if I needed to, because in my family there have been a lot of C-sections. And Sophia was also born C-section, and also being present at her birth, obviously I saw how births can go, you know, like that you can have an idea in your mind, but you know, it's they can take a strange turn, or like you can't really plan it.
Yeah.
So honestly, for me, I felt more relaxed to not even have like a particular plan.
Okay.
To just kind of like, yeah. I wanted to see if I could do with, like, how long I could go without an epidural. I wasn't going to get one straight away unless I realized the pain was really bad. But otherwise, I didn't really, and I wasn't scared about the idea of a C-section either, because I guess because I'd also been at Sophia's C-section, and generally because I'd had IVF and everything and all the medical stuff at the same hospital where I was going to give birth, the whole medical aspect didn't really freak me out that much. So
you were pretty like zen about it.
Yeah, I was, and generally medical context, I mean, I've had a few little medical things in my life, and the hospital sphere doesn't really bother me that much. Like, yeah, and so, So yeah, no, I just kind of went into it and just like see what happens.
And how was the end of pregnancy for you, aside from feeling a little puffy?
Yeah, it was okay. End of pregnancy. So I ended up being overdue. I had carpal tunnel. Yeah. Yeah. So I had carpal tunnel, and I still kind of have side effects from that. Now it's become decurvin tendinitis.
Okay.
I had a scan last week, and it's it's very common apparently in women postpartum. Actually, they told me it's better than carpal tunnel.
Okay. Will it go away?
Because it should go away on its own, and if not, they can give me like an infiltration of anti-inflammatory stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, carpal tunnel, it didn't bother me that much. It was painful, but I kind of knew it was temporary, so yeah, it didn't really... they gave me splints to sleep with at night, and yeah.
Okay.
That was that. My feet were all puffy as well, and yeah, I mean, I was just very uncomfortable, but I think that's pretty normal at the end. Like, you're just kind of...
I think it's
expansive.
It's normal and it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I was lucky that I only got it maybe in like the last like 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe a bit longer, because actually I ended up giving birth almost at 42 weeks. So I guess I had it for like around, like 8 weeks. One thing that was really cool at the end of my pregnancy, that, you know, if I hadn't been overdue, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I dressed up as an avocado for Halloween. So that was pretty cool. Have you seen that before? You know, when you you do a cardboard cutout, and I had a brown t-shirt and George was the stone.
Oh.
So that was pretty cool.
Thank you, George, for coming late.
Exactly.
Because,
yeah.
Okay. So you were late, but and like emotionally, how was that? Was that frustrating?
It was frustrating. I was just... I mean, honestly, in France, you feel so cared for. The fact that they check you all the time. I was a little bit stressed because my aunt, like years ago, I mean, I guess probably we're talking like 35 years ago, she lost a baby because she was too late, basically.
Oh.
And I think, you know, so long ago, I guess they weren't monitoring her enough, and the baby was stillborn. So I was, you know, I was a bit freaked out by that, but they were monitoring all the time. And then when I was 4 days late, they said, you know, we would probably suggest inducing now.
41 plus 4.
Exactly,
Right?
41 plus 4, yeah. And they said, but, you know, it's up to you. And I said, no, let's induce because of that, you know. So I was, you know, at that point, just, you know, get him out. Yeah.
So how did the induction process start?
That was long. Wait, I'm going to look at my bullet points.
All right. And while you're looking to, did you have any particular feelings about being induced? Or were you just kind of happy that he was going to be coming?
No, I was happy that he was going to be coming, but Nadia was also induced, so I was kind of aware that induction is not really fun. Like, you know, it's you kind of ideally want your body to start it all naturally, because then I think it just goes faster. When you get induced, it just drags on a bit. So yeah, and then right there. So it started off the whole thing basically being the same path that Nadia had when Soph was born. So
was Soph born at the same hospital?
She was born at the same hospital, and pretty much the exact same procedures, because they have their protocol basically for how they induce people.
Fair.
So they first, I don't know what you call that. They put that balloon thing.
I think it's generally called a Foley bulb.
I don't know. Yeah.
It might be called, I imagine it's called something different here, and I'm actually not sure.
Well, in France, it's called a sonde, but they call everything a sonde.
Right.
So I don't
that's also the word for a
catheter.
Catheter, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not that. So it's like a balloon thing that they put either side of your cervix and fill up with saline solution. And I guess the fact that it's there is meant to make your contractions start naturally, because your body's like, what's going on here?
If I understand correctly, it's like a manual form of induction, and it's supposed to be a little bit softer because you're not directly going for hormones.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's supposed to help you dilate. And then it's sort of like a reverse form of like your body's like, I'm dilating. Maybe I should also make some.
I see. So it starts you dilating, and then you have contractions.
Right. Or that's how I understand it, and I could be.
No, that makes sense.
I could be, and probably I'm wrong. So.
No, I reckon that makes sense. But yeah, definitely. So it is meant to be natural. So it's honestly that part I was pleasantly surprised because Nadia had it and found it very difficult, and whereas I was expecting it to be horrible. But actually, my body was like, whatever. Which is good and bad. Because basically it meant that I didn't have any contractions. My body just basically adapted to the balloon thing and didn't start labor. We actually had a really funny time, though, because we had to leave it. So they put that in the...
so the balloon did not start labor.
Yeah, so they put that in, I guess, what time was it? Like around lunchtime or something, they put it in, and I had to wait until the next morning to see what had happened. So we just had to.
You were at the hospital that whole time, or did you?
We were at the hospital. We were checked in. I'm trying. Yeah, we were checked in. And yeah. So but basically, so we had to be around the hospital. So I was walking around to try and get some contractions started, and it was quite funny actually because we got kind of bored, and I'll pick him up. Yeah, we got kind of bored and we were just wandering around the hospital. I think it was like 9 p.m. on a Sunday night or something, so it was completely dead. The whole place was just really empty. And it was, so we ended up doing a jigsaw puzzle in the acupuncture waiting room because we were just like trying to amuse ourselves, and but it was kind of nice, like moment as a couple, I think, to kind
sort of like a transitional moment of like being together but knowing that
exactly, and trying to stay positive as well, anyways, I had a very uncomfortable night, and I think I only slept like 3 hours because of course I was extremely pregnant and had this balloon thing in. So I barely slept, which wasn't great because it meant that, of course, I started off the whole thing really tired.
Yeah.
So the next morning, we went in to the doctors again, and nothing had happened. So they broke my water to see if that would start the contractions. And then they said, okay, go around, be active. So we were really bored of the hospital by that point, and we actually asked if we were allowed to go in this little garden which is behind the hospital, like kind of a park. And they said yes. We were so happy. So we broke out and we went to the park behind the hospital, and we actually we put music on. It was really sunny, and we put music on, and we were like doing some kind of squats and stuff, like little exercise class and dancing and like trying to be active. And so I had a few mild contractions, but really not much. But we had a nice moment. So so then we went and saw the doctor at like 4:00 in the afternoon. And she was like, sorry, but it looks like we're gonna have to go for, I think is it called oxytocin?
Yeah, in the US they call it Pitocin. I think maybe in the UK too, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. Anyway, the induction hormone. And so she did that horrible thing, the IV thing in my hand. When they put so you can have a drip. Yeah,
they do that for everybody, even
they do.
If you're not getting induced.
But I hate it. Honestly, I think I had an operation when I was 4, and I think I have like trauma from it. Oh. Because when I was 4, I woke up and ripped it out of my hand because I was like, what is this? Yeah. So I really don't like it. Anyway, so I had that, and the midwife team that were there, they were so great. They were really, really nice. And it was such a shame because we caught them at the end of their shift, basically. So we had them, and so they started the oxytocin. They told me it could take like half an hour or longer to kick in, but with me it seemed to start really quickly, like within 10 minutes or something, like strong. And I was like, oh, okay, this is already pretty strong. And so I think I called them in and said, might need an epidural soon. And they were like, yeah, a bit too relaxed. And then I think I called them back a few minutes later, and they thought I was not asking again. They thought I was saying maybe. But Nadia actually realized that they were kind of interpreting like that perhaps on purpose, because it was literally like 5 to 8 and they were going off shift at 8 o'clock. So basically they had to work longer basically, because they had to call the anaesthetist for me and get the whole thing sorted. So anyway, they did it, but they so luckily they came really quickly, because by then my contractions were sometimes even like back to back.
Yeah.
And they were having trouble doing the epidural because they were back to back. So the guy would be like, okay, tell me when it's over, and I'd say, okay, now, oh wait a minute, here comes another one.
Oh my gosh.
So it wasn't so easy. But anyway, they were also a very nice team, the anaesthetist, and that was done. Wait a minute, bullet points again. So, but after the epidural, I guess everything kind of calms down, because you're kind of stuck to the bed.
Yeah.
And sorry.
Were the contractions doing their job? Were you dilating, or did
so
they
I was
check?
dilating, yeah. So basically, so they changed midwife team. And I mean, they at the beginning they seemed kind of nice-ish. I mean, of course, they think they were, mean or anything, but basically the woman was more about ticking boxes. And she also was very, very keen on showing her intern absolutely everything. And honestly, the intern seemed scared of her. But she, so the thing was that, so I was dilating, but basically the woman was very, very much into checking me a lot to see how much I dilated. But not only her, each time she wanted the intern to check me as well. So I don't know how many times, too many, but she would check me, not say anything, and then say, okay, now you, and get her intern to check me right after she checked me. And so this poor intern clearly felt really like uncomfortable and would say to me, sorry, can I check you too? And I'd be like, yeah, fine, go on. Like, you're learning, but I mean, you can't feel anything much down there anyway when you have an epidural, but it's still just plus I was waiting. So then she would give her answers like, I think she's 5 centimeters dilated, and then I'd have to wait for the doctor to tell me, well, actually, no, she's 6 centimeters, or...
Wow.
So I had to wait this whole time, each time, to see reality, like, it was,
That sounds really frustrating.
Yeah. And the woman was, she started off very nice, but we realized that she kind of, I don't know, she wasn't really listening to us completely. Like at some point George he wasn't in the right position. He wasn't like breech, but he was, which way they meant to be? He was was facing
he was facing your back.
He was facing, he's meant to be facing my front? He was facing the wrong way.
Yeah, facing your front. Like you were back to back.
Yeah. So he was the wrong way, basically. So, and she said that it could mean he could end up with the ventouses, thingy, and
the vacuum.
So then she wanted me to do acupuncture. So I was like, yay, more needles. So I did acupuncture to try and make him move. That didn't work. And then I did acupuncture. Yeah, that didn't work. Then she made me... Oh, that was really funny. Somehow they managed to turn me over on the bed and lean on a yoga ball.
Okay.
And try it so that the gravity would, in theory, hopefully make him turn, which it didn't. But it was, So I was dilating, but basically kind of slowly, and George's heart rate was dropping from time to time, and like they would come in whenever it did, and like make sure everything was okay.
maybe reposition you or no?
Yeah, sometimes like say, oh yeah, you're maybe change position because he doesn't seem to like that one, or this is when it's starting to get a bit blurry, to be honest, because basically I was getting really tired. I had a really bad night, and I was getting really tired, and he clearly was too because of his heart rate. Sorry, you wanted to?
You never got to take a nap with epidural? Or...
No. I mean, no. I didn't think I could have napped. I think I was too adrenaline and stuff. Right. Like I didn't. Yeah. And then so at some point, like me and Nadia were honestly starting to think about, because it was exactly the same path that she'd gone through.
Right.
Because Sophia also, her heart rate also dropped. And we were like, oh, okay, this isn't great. Let's maybe consider a C-section now. Like, I was getting really tired. I don't know how many hours it had been since the whole thing started, but a long time. Anyway, so and then at some point the midwife came in and said, oh yeah, because his heart rate keeps dropping, like the doctors have told me to prep you just in case. So shaved me and what else? And then she got her intern to put my urine catheter in.
Okay.
Yeah. Under supervision, but I'm not sure if it was the first time she'd done it. She didn't seem particularly confident. Anyway, so I was all ready, and we were kind of like, actually, maybe a C-section wouldn't be such a bad idea, I'm really tired. And she was like, yeah, but it's actually, everybody's tired during labor, and this, that this is just the beginning, and once you get to 10 centimeters, then they'll be even longer. She was a bit, kind of, patronizing, I don't know.
Yeah, like not validating your experience.
No, so...
And not listening to you, like if you're saying, I'm feeling really tired.
Yeah, exactly. And she kept interrupting us a lot. So there was a time when she left, me and Nadia had a proper chat and decided what we wanted. Because I'd got to 9 centimeters by that point, and I was like, I don't know, she's saying, in theory he could, if it gets to 10, then, it could be okay with the vacuum thing and everything, but we were a bit worried that he might get stuck. I don't know, and then end up having to have a caesarean anyway. So we decided that we wanted to wait 1 more hour to see if I got to 10 centimeters, and that was that. She was we managed to talk to her without her interrupting us. We actually had to say, please don't interrupt us. But she did, therefore, listen to us. But she was always trying to convince us against a C-section. But like I said, this was after she'd prepped me for a C-section. So we were kind of confused. That's why it's a bit even extra blurry. Anyway, so that was when we were just starting that last hour. And then suddenly, we'd kind of agreed we were going to wait out another hour. And then a team of 3 surgeons walked in, and could tell they were mission ready. And they were like, we've been monitoring your baby, his heart rate keeps dropping, and we need to give you an emergency C-section now.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, emergency? They were like, yeah, he needs to get out now.
Okay.
And we were like, okay. So, and the midwife clearly wasn't particularly on board. She felt maybe agree. Undermined or something. Okay. I don't know. We were happy, honestly. I was like, okay, good. Honestly, we kind of were considering a C-section. So, yeah. So I was prepped and out of there in 5 minutes. Nadia had her scrubs on, and... and then I was on the table. And
did they tie you down?
I don't know if they tied me. They put your arms out, which is weird. That's the one part I didn't like, because it's I don't know why they do that. Also, the sheet was in my face. It wasn't it was in my face. I wonder whether it's because I'm short, and so that it's a one size fits nobody. It was right there. But I was like, okay, I'm eating the sheet, but okay. But the anaesthetist in charge that time also unfortunately wasn't the friendly one. It was a guy who kind of reminded me of Hodor from Game of Thrones. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Hodor is nice.
He's nice, but anyway,
Kinda
very
gruff.
minimal with the words.
Yeah.
A little bit gruff.
Yeah.
And like also he gave me he increased the dose of my epidural, of course, for the operation.
Yeah.
But then he it had gone through, and I was like, I'm pretty certain I still have quite a lot of feeling down there.
Yeah.
So I basically requested more.
Okay. Yeah. Also, it's
good.
You
But I kind of felt like I shouldn't have to do
when
that.
you're going to be pushing, you need to feel something.
Yeah. No, but
to
he'd
be able
already
to push, but you're not going to push.
No, exactly. He'd already upped the dose for me to be cut open, but I was like, no, I'm pretty certain I could still feel that. Can you I don't want to feel a knife.
Yeah.
George thinks it's funny.
Is that funny?
Yeah. You don't care. You were on the inside.
You were warm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the prepping thing is pretty horrible because the operating theatre is really cold. It's a bit your nose.
Yeah, you got my nose. You're stealing the show, George.
Yeah. So the operating theatre is really cold, and also because of the medication, you also get really shivery. So you're super shivery. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but they were all very nice. The anaesthetists and the surgeons, and they all introduced themselves, and that part, the C-section itself is just really weird because you just feel this tugging.
Mm-hmm.
I was very proud though because the surgeon told me she was having trouble getting through my abs.
Oh, nice.
She was like, "Oh my god, your abs are so tight." I was like, "Oh yeah."
Abs of steel.
Not anymore. But while she was there, she noticed, she said something about the catheter. Basically, she was like, "Oh, this catheter wasn't put in right." So, and I was like, "Okay, yeah. Did you say something about the catheter? Because the intern did that."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah. And anyway, so they did a blue test, I think they call it, to check that my bladder hadn't been cut or something.
Yeah.
And, it was okay. So anyway, so they do the whole, digging around, and then suddenly George was out. But I think I didn't really know, because there's so much going on.
It?
Well, I think they kind of tell you, and you're like, oh, okay, because there's just so much going on. And, they showed him to us, but I was kind of dazed. And,
They, lift him over the drape?
No, they kind of brought it around the side.
Mm-hmm.
And also everybody was wearing masks at that point. So I think it was the midwife who came and showed him to me, but I was kind of I didn't recognize her to start with. And then, so Nadia went off with him to do skin to skin. He had a really funny shaped head, apparently. I mean, I didn't see it because I was being stitched up for a while, but basically, we made the right call with the C-section because his head had already been, he already had a cone head.
Oh, weird.
From trying to get into my cervix, through my cervix, vagina. I'm not sure which part he was going through.
Into your pelvis, maybe?
I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure where exactly he was, but basically he ended up with a funny head. So, they said no worries, it'll sort itself out again in a few hours. But at the beginning, what she saw, it was a bit crazy. So we were very happy. We went for the C-section. So then I don't know.
Okay, so George is out.
Yeah.
He's gone with Nadia for skin to skin.
Yeah. I was being stitched up. And, then they took me to recovery room. And there was a really bizarre woman, very friendly, but basically told me her life story, including how her husband had beaten her in, the space of 20 seconds, which is, when you've been awake for a long, long time, it's not really what, you want to hear. You're like, okay, hi.
Do we know each other?
Yeah, okay. Anyway, but she was very nice, but, a little bit odd. Anyway, so she like covered me up with loads of warm stuff because I was shivering, and I asked for a cloth to wipe my boobs before George arrived, and yeah. Anyway, so then they showed up, which was just very surreal when they turn up with the baby, and he fed, and now he wants to feed again, maybe. Yeah, so that was fine. And then we went back to our room. They got me. They made sure I could walk before we went up. My legs had come back to life, and they made sure I could pee. I thought I peed in that moment, but there's a lot of stuff coming out down there. So
yeah,
I thought I'd peed. I was like, yeah, sure. But then at some point later during the day, so we'd been feeding and very, very distracted the whole day with George. And at some point I thought to myself, wait a minute, I don't think I've peed for 6 hours. And I felt like I maybe needed to pee and went to the toilet and couldn't pee. And so anyway, I called the midwife on the phone. And then the whole annoying thing started because basically.
So what was that?
So basically, they were a bit worried because it had been quite a while, and I also I told them, I said, oh well, also I did hear the surgeon saying something about how the catheter hadn't been put in right, maybe just check what's going on down there. I kind of wish I hadn't told them that because basically I think they were worried about me suing them or something. I don't know, but they were really being very overzealous with checking everything, and they would every 3 hours they would scan my bladder, but that meant that they would take the plaster off my C-section scar, like fresh C-section scar, put that blue gel on it and scan on it. And then so they were doing this every 3 hours or something, and my feeling gradually came back down there, and I did manage to pee. Yeah. But they insisted on carrying on with that whole thing. I don't know how long. It felt like a day. I think it was at least 2 days. And so I had to call them on the phone when I felt like I needed to pee. They would scan my bladder, then I would go and pee, and then they'd scan it again to make sure it emptied my bladder. Okay. And each time, on my scar, and peeling the plaster. It was honestly just horrible. And they were also, each time they would, they noticed that I still had pee in my bladder. Each time they would, they would empty it manually. Right, they would put a catheter in. A little one, and I looked like a little fountain statue peeing, basically. Yeah. But it was getting really sore down there, and they were waking me up at night. So he'd finally fallen asleep, and then they would come and wake me up to do that again. And the thing is that also, each time they were doing multiple readings because they didn't say, but they seemed to be having a bit of trouble with their machine. And I even made jokes about it. It was like, seems like your machine isn't, your friend or whatever. And then anyway, so at some point I really complained about it, and also what worked in my favor for them stopping is that the battery died on the machine. Oh my gosh. So basically I was like, okay, so you're telling me that this whole, partly because your machine, because the battery was running out, so your readings weren't even right. Yeah, that was all pretty annoying. And honestly, that's probably my most traumatic. It's probably more traumatic than the actual birth. Because I just was exhausted and trying to get used to hanging out with George and breastfeeding as well and everything, and they would just constantly be interrupting me with that, waking me up, making me more tired and uncomfortable, and so I was so happy when they stopped. But we were basically, by that point, desperate to get out of there because we just, felt like they were just very intrusive the whole time.
And how long did you have to stay at the hospital in the end?
Well, we went in on the Sunday night, but that was for the induction. George was born at 4 a.m. on the Tuesday morning, so like Monday to Tuesday. Yeah. And we were meant to leave on the Saturday, but we managed to be let out on the Friday. Like we asked to be let out, and he hadn't reached his birth weight yet, but he was putting on weight, so they let us go kind of reluctantly, but we were so happy to get out of there because we just weren't sleeping well. They'd put us in like a pokey little room, and and with constant visits and stuff. I mean, it's great that in France you get all this care, that you have visits from everybody, but they really need to sit down and decide the information that they're going to give you, and not give you conflicting information all the time. And I feel like sometimes in France there are too many visits, and it's too medicalized, the whole thing. So we were very happy to go home and like try and figure things out at home.
And how has it been adjusting to life with 2 kids?
Not easy at the beginning, but I think having a bigger age gap actually worked in our favor in the end, because she's 7, so she's like been able to process things a little bit better. I think she expresses her emotions, she says things, so we know what she's thinking. Yeah, and so it's easier to kind of work around it. And now they're really great together. They're really sweet, and we can leave George with her and she'll entertain him, read him a book, and look after him a little bit. I mean, it's not easy sometimes, juggling the 2 of them at bedtime. George doesn't mind going to bed, touch wood, don't want to jinx it. And Sophia still doesn't like going to bed, so that's not so easy.
I hope he stays liking to go to bed.
Well, we'll see.
To have at least one easier kid.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. The idea is to put them in the same room at some point, so that maybe you can be a good influence on your sister. You can both sleep.
Or one of them can stop the other one from sleeping. Yeah,
it's probably the reality. That's what's going to happen. That's what's already happening, to be honest. Sometimes. So...
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Do you have anything, last thing or things that you want to add? Has
I don't know. Like
your vision of pregnancy, being a parent in France, changed by you being pregnant?
Not so much. I don't think. I think having had a second one, like it's like the cultural differences and kind of conflicts are just a lot easier to process now. I know that when we had Sophia, like we'd be getting advice from family in Bulgaria and in England and French doctors, and and we just didn't know what to do, and it was all very stressful. And now I just know to kind of go with what I think's best, and to take everything with a pinch of salt, because basically each culture tells you to do something different. So and babies in that country are fine, and babies in that country are fine. So,
do what works for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I do think, like it helps me be a bit more relaxed, having done it once before. Yeah. And just one thing, I don't know if we have time, but the breastfeeding thing was kind of interesting as well. Again, kind of cultural. Because I do feel like it's kind of a new trend coming back in France, breastfeeding. Like I do think that because women go back to work very early generally, a lot of people don't breastfeed or don't plan to feed for long. And so they don't, that maybe place so much importance on it, or the duration of it. And I think it's starting to come back as kind of a trend now. But whereas in the UK, like most women, I think the majority try to breastfeed, and often for longer. But I'm very, very happy that it worked in the end. But I do I remember talking to you about it actually at the beginning, and how like it was really hard at the beginning because he wasn't putting on the weight.
Yeah.
And the doctors, like, and the midwife as well, like, they were not, they were being supportive, but I didn't really feel like they cared that much whether it actually worked or not.
They're wondering why you're working so hard when you could just give them formula.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, that's what actually worked for him. Giving him a few bottles of formula actually gave him the strength he needed to be able to breastfeed better.
Yeah.
And then I ended up ditching the formula a few weeks later because, like, he had the strength by that point. Mm-hmm. But I remember, for example, my midwife, like, she got a little too personal with it because basically she hadn't really managed to breastfeed her kid. She'd only managed to pump and then given up because it was too annoying. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when I was finding it hard, she was bringing in so many of her own own comments about that, like, oh, don't worry about it if you just end up pumping for a couple of months. And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, it's worked out in the end, touch wood. So yeah, we're all good.
Thank you so much for sharing your great story, and we're happy George is here.
Yeah, he's happy to.
All right, well, wishing everybody a great day, and thank you for listening, and don't hesitate to follow us on whatever platform you're listening to this on, if it's Spotify or YouTube. All right, thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Merci à toi de nous avoir écoutés. Rendez-vous sur notre prochaine interview. Pour nous soutenir, abonne-toi et suis-nous sur les réseaux.